From Bilboes Battalion, and today we're broadcasting from Tongala in north central Victoria, which is in Australia for overseas people. And the topic that I wanted to talk about today is some of the, let's just say, platforms and the information that gets put up on platforms, and what happens with some of the people who think that they have the right to decide what you can or can't say, or who can say what, and what is in fact the truth or not the truth, or facts or not the facts. So I think probably by now people will be starting to get a bit of an idea of what we're talking about, and I would suggest that quite a lot of people would have had experiences with these kind of problems in the past. And you know, I would bring to people's attention that this, in fact, problem of people not being able to share information, not being able to tell the truth, not being able to get their story out there, not being able to get factual information that is so critical, this is in part one of the very reasons why I first formed Bilboes Battalion in the first place. And this was because with what was happening then with our so-called global disease, global problem that was going on, so many people were trying to put information out and get information on what was happening. And anyway, they were being shut down. And a lot of the things that were happening there were having catastrophic effects on people's lives. So there was a lot happening to say what government was doing was wrong, what the advice and the information that was being given to people was not only, it was not right, it was categorical, barefaced lies. And it was lies for a very, very specific purpose, a very disgusting and dangerous purpose. And we had a lot of people who tried to get information out, a lot of medical experts from around the world were saying a lot of things, that this problem isn't a problem if you use the right stuff, and the things that they were going to use was in fact quite dangerous and in many cases lethal. And that's what we've seen happen. So at that point I knew a lot of people who'd been sacked because they wouldn't get certain things done to their bodies, they wouldn't take certain things and allow that to happen. And they were very, very frustrated and very angry because they couldn't get information out across the net, across social media. So one of the main purposes of Bilboes Battalion was to do our convoys around the place with all our billboards on vehicles. We could actually say what we wanted to say, and there's nothing they could do about it. They couldn't stop you, they couldn't shut you down, because these were our vehicles and this was our signage, so therefore we could do what we wanted to. And we could take that into the public arena, not just share it amongst people who were like-minded. And you know, we had a great deal of success with so many people of the public who didn't know a lot of the information that we were talking about. So that was great and that was successful. So in the meantime, we've seen a lot of things happen where they want to shut down information. They want to shut down your ability to tell people the truth and other people's ability to find out the truth. And this is a very, very dangerous problem. So, you know, I've been doing, Bilboes Battalion's been doing these lives now for the last, not even a week. And, you know, a lot of our videos that we're putting up are very, very successful. We're getting quite substantial views and shares because we are simply telling the truth. And we're doing what people want, and they're hearing the stuff they want to hear. They want to know somebody who will stand up and fight hard for the truth and for them and for their life and their families' lives and our country. So at the end of the day, you know, we're starting to get quite a lot of traction in only under a week. We had one video that we did yesterday, and that was from up at Echuca, up at the old mill site there. And a lot of the things that I said, all of them are categorically correct, absolutely true. But anyway, some of the platforms don't seem to like this truth thing. It bothers them. So we had one on, let's just say, a site, a social media site that sounds very much like the noise a clock makes, just to say it that way. And actually, I suppose for a lot of the younger people, probably haven't got a foggiest idea what I'm talking about. They've probably never heard one. I've probably never heard a clock ticking anyway. That's okay. So we had, I think it was we broadcast at 12:30 yesterday afternoon, and by 7 o'clock that night we'd had 1,999 views on that particular one from Echuca. And then by, I think it was 10:41 p.m. last night, it just hit 5,000 views on the platform that sounds like a clock. So at the end of the day, by early this morning, which today is the 5th of March 2024, by early this morning it had hit 7,000 views, and all of 7,600 I think, and all of a sudden it was taken down off this clock kind of platform because they reckon it breached the standards or some other garbage. You know the rubbish that they talk about. It breaches this or that or the other thing, some sort of standards, community standards, whatever. So I just thought we need to do a video about this, and we need to really highlight this because so many people have trouble with these platforms, and these people or computer systems or AI that set themselves up and they call themselves, you know, the checkers of, well, let's just say the facts. So I thought we need to address that because there's a lot that is very, very wrong with that, because once you start to drill down into it, and by drill down I mean you only just touch the surface, and you start to work out that these people who call themselves the arbiters of the truth, they themselves are in fact barefaced liars. They are not the arbiters of truth of anything. They are political operatives. They are very, very dangerous political operatives, and their job is not to make sure that people get good quality information or call out call out things that aren't correct. That's not their job at all. Their job is to shut down the truth. That's what their job is. They have a very, very sinister and bad philosophy. They think that they are about 10 levels higher than, if you believe in God or whatever, they're about 10 levels higher than God, and they wield an enormous amount of power. And I think from memory that not that long ago, one of these so-called checker crowds, maybe in a university in Melbourne perhaps, may have even gone that bad and that rogue and that dishonest and that disgusting that they actually got a big warning and copped flack from the actual major high tech crowd that they worked for. We're trying to just avoid mentioning too many names here because you know what they're like now. They're really getting pretty desperate because they don't like the truth. So the big chances of having some problem arising is pretty real. So the bottom line is that when you listen to some of these people and they talk about what they're going to protect people from, they are liars. They are barefaced scum, and they are liars, and they are dangerous, because the people who are the enemies of us, of our country, they need to run scams and lies. They need to be able to terrify people when they can, and they need to make sure that people who have the integrity or the guts to stand up and tell the truth are shut down. That is their specific purpose. That's what their role is. That is why they're there. And they round up some pretty disgusting sort of characters to work in these roles. And I would say it's probably similar to putting a junkie in charge of the chemist, or a pedo in charge of the kindergarten. These people are shockers. They are disgusting, and we need to fight them as hard as we possibly can. And that is one of the reasons why I can see that Billboard Battalion is really going to have to ramp up our our billboards, get some of our convoys going again that were very, very successful, so we can actually build our own billboards and we can tell the truth and we can take that into the public. So I'm just thinking that, you know, we're going to be doing a tour probably in about a month's time up to New South and Queensland, but in the meantime we want to try and organise, I think, something up in Deniliquin, which is in southern New South Wales, and get some things happening up there. Perhaps even, you know, a billboard battalion convoy somewhere in through Deniliquin. We'll have a look at that and see if that's something that we will do, and to really highlight as well the water situation, because as we discovered yesterday, there is another rice mill up in Deniliquin in New South Wales, and when they're coming back for this extra 450 or 700 gigs of water they want for the Murray-Darling Basin Plan, I don't know what's going to be left of Deniliquin. I've heard a lot of stuff about, you know, half of the shops up there are in trouble and had it. They've hearing about shops closing down in our towns here in the Goulburn Valley, Shepparton, Kyabram. You know, it's just these places are feeling the impacts of the government's policies, and as I said before, these policies, they're shockers. They're wiping out businesses and lives and everything else, and I put it to you that that is in fact the intended purpose. So, you know, we need to start to put pressure on our politicians, because once again, the politicians are the ones who are setting this up. When you see all your towns collapsing and your communities collapsing, you need to understand that who's responsible for that. And the people at the coalface where the rubber hits the road, the ones who, I don't know, an analogy would be to say the ones who fire the bullets, you know, these are the politicians. They're the ones that give these enemies of our country and our people the power. They're the ones that cause you the problems. So when you think your politicians are all nice and friendly and they're talking to you and saying, "G'day mate, there you come and vote for me, we're going to worry about tax or we're going to worry about some other crap," the bottom line is, all the time, they are selling you out. They are absolutely selling you out. And if our politicians were doing the right thing at all, they would take these platforms and these so-called checkers to task, and they would legislate that they cannot be liars. They would legislate that we have to have fair and balanced debate on issues and current affair issues and things that are affecting us every day. But your politicians don't. They are not interested in any kind of ability to speak freely. They are not interested at all in your privacy or your safety, because your politicians support policies that put your safety at enormous risk and that destroy your privacy. That is exactly who they are. That is exactly what they do. So therefore, we need to put pressure on them. We're going to be setting something up very, very soon to do exactly that. So I just wanted to throw this up and, you know, get a conversation going, because I know so many people are so frustrated and angry that every time they try and post something or say something, they can't. And every time they want to try and get information on issues that are so critical, they can't. And I know that a lot of people are frustrated and need to have an outlet where they can speak. And one of the stories I like to recount with regard to Billboard Battalion is that the first convoy that we ever did in Echuca, we had a number of nurses who had been stood down because they wouldn't go and put themselves in enormous danger and get something put into their body through their arm. They wouldn't take this injection, and they were stood down. And so they came with us as part of our convoy, and, you know, they had a lot of their banners that they wanted to say, the things they wanted to say, a lot of their billboards. So anyway, at the end of the day, they ended up taking part of the convoy. They broke off and went into the Echuca Hospital, into the emergency department there. And, you know, that was an opportunity for them to express themselves and take their signage and their billboards into that area. and actually be able to express what they wanted to. And they had a lot of their colleagues from inside who were still working. They'd taken this stuff, but they were still inside, and they were messaging and backwards and forwards. Had a great deal of communication going. It was fantastic to see, and the incredible amount of relief to these group of nurses to be able to just speak and actually say what they wanted to say and get their information out in a format was, you know, the what that meant to them was incredibly just amazing, and I was so proud to be a part of that. And then you realise at that point how critically important being able to get your message out is, and being able to speak. So I just wanted to say that although the girls did take what we were doing into the emergency drop-off area, there was never any risk to anybody there, because whatever we had there could have been moved in like 6 seconds if any emergency came in. And the bottom line is, you had a whole team of nurses who worked at that very hospital and around that very emergency area who were on standby. So if they did have an emergency come in, what more could you wish for than a whole heap of highly trained nurses who that was their workplace and that's what they do. So it probably, if an emergency did come in, it would have been actually to their advantage to have so many highly trained staff on hand, experts in the medical care. So these are just some of the issues that I wanted to raise with regard to this. We're seeing information being shut down all the time, and we are fighting against this. We are still putting up our videos. We're going to do more of our public meetings, and I think we need to get more of our convoys going, because that is an incredibly important way of getting information out. And so, you know, we get down to this, Billboard Battalion will defend people's right to get information. Billboard Battalion will defend people's right to speak the truth, and Billboard Battalion will fight for those rights for everybody. And that is a critical part of our democracy. It is a critical part of our freedom. And once you've lost that, you're in a whole heap of trouble. So another day soon, we might do a video about the misinformation and disinformation bill that they're trying to get through the Parliament. That's an incredibly dangerous thing that they want to use to shut people down. And actually, if they got that over the line, they'd be able to shut you down from speaking in the streets. They'd be able to shut you down from speaking, having billboards or signage or anything, having in discussions at all that your government and the World Economic Forum, who runs your government, don't want you to say. And this is all about shutting you down, shutting you up and ending you, basically. So on that note, I'll just say once again, thanks to all our supporters for Billboard Battalion. Share, like, spread this around, bounce it around to as many people as you can. Make a policy, maybe share it to 2 or 3 people. If you've got other platforms or other groups that you're parts of, you know, start to share this. Be very, very greatly appreciated. And, you know, we're in this for you. Billboard Battalion is fighting for you and your families. So give us a hand, kick some things into gear. Once again, if you think that you know, being able to speak or being able to have your opinion or being safe is important, you know, we've got a lot going on. We're going on the road again very, very soon. We've got a lot of projects in the pipeline. So, you know, as it always goes, we need as much money as we can possibly get to try and achieve all those things. So for anybody, get on to Billboard Battalion. Our bank account details are there. Whatever you can put in to help us will be gratefully appreciated. That'd be fantastic. So we won't stop. We will keep fighting for you, and we will keep fighting for Australia. So on that note, thanks very much to everybody. I'll catch up with you again tomorrow at 12:30, and thank you everybody. And I'll just call it quits with that from downtown Tongala, once again, north central Victoria, where I'm standing here. This is if I spin around there, you might be able to see. Hang on, I'll just wander over here. What you can see here, I'll just turn that around, right there, that what you're looking at there is part of the old Tongala railway station, and that crane there is what they used to have on the platform to unload a lot of the stuff out of the railway cars and so on. And over here, this is the old train tracks, and we're actually, if you look down that way, you can see that's down heading towards Echuca, and this right here, this is the old platform where the actual railway station used to be. And I can remember when we were only kids getting on the train here to go to sometimes Melbourne, sometimes wherever we were going, and that platform there, I remember my old man was carting hay down in the Western District, and they loaded all the hay loaders and stuff on the back of the trucks here with these things, probably about 1970 or so, and to cart it all down to the Western District to start the season down there carting hay. So anyway, just a little bit from Tongala in Victoria. There you go. The old railway station is gone, but there's a lot of trees have been planted here and a lot of stuff that looks pretty good. So, all right, people. Well, we'll call it quits at that. And once again, thanks very much for watching. If you got a few bob that you can chuck in to give us a hand, that'd be greatly appreciated. So, all right, I'll catch up with you later and talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.